Hello, I am One Iam. I am an esoteric subject matter author and a blogger on the internet. My internet website for blogging is thekingdomwithin.com. Be sure to visit me there. But I wanted to jump in on the Diddy situation. Say a few things about that situation from a higher perspective than freak offs and that type of mindset where oh, he's just doing a bunch of freak offs and this, that, and the other, and people not understanding what's going on another level of uh, of energy. Let's put it like that. Another level of energy. Uh, Primal creative energy has been set in sexual intercourse. Creative energy. This is where people are born out of sexual energy and the creative forces taking place. And there's a great deal of creative energy in the reproductive system of the female. After the man provides the catalyst, the female is the furnace of energy, uh, and, uh, and she's fueled with creative power. The female, uh, what we're living in now, what we are actually, is the divine mind. There's nothing but the divine mind, okay? And the divine mind has created the universe out of its own energy. It uses its own energy to create a perceptive process that we call life and universe. So, as is said in the Kabbalion, the all is mind and the universe is mental. It's a mental creation. This It's all mental. The stuff that you don't see is the real stuff. This stuff is created in perception for the mind to exercise itself and have some entertainment. Have some entertainment. This is not the reality. The mind producing the perception, the mind and the energy is the reality that produces the perception. And the energy of the mind, the energy of the mind can, through the reproductive process and raising that energy in sexual activity, the energy gets raised in climax and in orgasm and etc. Energy is released into the divine mind and into the ether from the sexual intercourse. And with your thoughts and etc., with your thoughts and your beliefs and etc., you can infuse the energy with your dreams. You understand? The energy gets infused with your dreams, and then the energy starts to, it takes it as a command. The energy takes it as a command, and it starts to build that dream, into a perceptive experience for the mind to have. There's nothing but the mind. And then there's a perceptive experience that we call life. Like I'm sitting here, right? One I am. This is the perception. It's not the reality. The reality is the mind that is producing the perception. And I'm not talking about the brain. The mind that is producing the perception. The mind has no physical apparatus. None whatsoever. It has no beginning and no end. The mind just is. I am, and it can't be any other way. That's the mind. And then there's the perception created within the mind for the mind to have the life experience. And the mind is just observing, through a reference point, which we call a person, etc. But the mind is observing and going through the experience. None of what happens can actually hurt the mind, help the mind, or do anything like that. The mind is. And that's you. The being. Not so much the person, but you can have the experience from that observation point. And you should be able to have the experience as you will, by taking intelligent command of your energy and having it to produce the perception that you will to experience, right? But if you sleep to the process that you are the divine mind, and to the fact that you're the mind, and that you have the ability to control the energy and have it as you will. Consciously control the energy. You're manifesting now, thinking and believing and grabbing hold of things mentally and sending out instructions. And the instructions are being obeyed. And that's the life you're getting. But without being conscious of what you're doing, the thing is kind of running on its own. And then what happens is the perception starts to run the mind rather than the mind being over the perception, which is, they say, the mind should be over the matter instead of the matter being over the mind. But anyway, what I was saying was that there's a lot of energy, in sexual intercourse, and the energy can be used not only to create people and etc., but the energy can be used to create other objects, circumstances, and situations, okay? If say you want to be wealthy, right? Then you would put that in your mind, see your perceptive personality in a wealthy situation, being wealthy, having wealth, feeling wealthy, and then you will put those thoughts into the energy, into the sexual energy coming forth from the sexual act. Put that into the energy and put it out into the energy, okay? And that's what a lot is going on in these what you call freak-offs and etc. It's not so much about the sexual act, but it's about the raising of the energy and then putting an intent on the energy, and the energy forming that perception and bringing it back into the perceptive process and into the perceptive world, which is all sense perception, through frequencies and etc. And even when you're making a person, there's a frequency coming from the male and a frequency coming from the female, and then the two frequencies come together and create a third frequency, which is entirely different from the two because they've joined. And now you have a third frequency, which is different, different fingerprints, different everything going on. And totally, there'll never be another frequency like it, another person like it. You understand? This might be a little over your head, but just hang with me. Go to my website, thekingdomwithin.com. Start on the blog from the beginning, and then work your way up from the beginning, and you'll be able to understand better. But entrance into the perceptive process comes through this reproductive energy that is being raised in sexual intercourse and in sexual acts. Okay? It's how the mind is connected to the person, the person being a frequency, a DNA frequency, the helix that goes like this, and it's got every single trait of the person. There's a lot entailed in that DNA helix frequency. That's one frequency. The male brings one, the female brings one. The two come together, the energy sparks, and you start to build the perceptive life in person for the mind to come through into the perceptive process and start partying, having a good time. Hey, having the experience. You understand? And there's a set time as well to get out of the experience at that perceptive point of observation. It's all in the information that's in the frequencies. You understand? But anyway, it's how a mind is converted. Okay, we'll talk about nature. Nature, spring, for example. Spring is a natural orgy. It's you have the birds and the bees doing their thing. You have the trees and the pollen and everything doing that thing. You have the sun coming in hotter and etc. And you have the greening and the budding of new life, and there's a lot of creative energy at springtime. Creative energy at springtime. And at spring also is the Easter. The Easter festival, where because of all the reproductive energy and the process of everything that was dead becoming new and beginning to come into its vibrancy and everything. And then there's a lot of energy. And there were back in ancient times, in times past, there were festivals of spring, of reproduction, of the energy involved in the whole process. And a lot of these festivals were sexual. You know, people got down. People came out from the winter, and the spring was something, and it was a celebration and a festival. And they would have different goddesses that were sexual goddesses, and one was Astarte, which was a goddess of reproduction and sex, and Astarte, that would be a festival around that goddess of love and the spring coming in, and all the power and the energy of that time, and people came out and had a freak off, if that's what you want to call it. You understand? But it was just natural and in nature, and something that was done at that time in these festivals. And there were lots of sexual intercourse and wine drinking and all kinds of what you would call debauchery. You understand? I mean, today, but back then, it wasn't. It was the order of the day. You know, at that time, you know, to have those kind of festivals. And, you know, they had the Astarte festival. That was like Mesopotamian Astarte. And then Ishtar was another one. Ishtar, the goddess Ishtar, which was more Babylonian, but the same thing, you know, as far as, you know, spring and the bringing out of energy and sex and reproduction and everything. And at that time, you know, they would have these big sexual festivals and everything, and you know, people were participating, and not just people at the time. When you go back, you know, it was people, children, all kinds of things were going on back in these ancient times and etc. around this natural energy. And then they raised the primal energy in their own bodies and etc. and tapped into the energy, you know, to bring about a situation or you know, an object or a circumstance that they wanted to happen or that they wanted to have in their lives. They used that energy for that. Now, like I said, spring is a natural origin of green, leading into the climax of summer. Summer being the climax, you know, like you going. When you had the climax, it was hot, and there's a lot of energy and a lot of force going on, and everything is as green as it's gonna get. You understand? It's the climax of the year, okay? And then, you know, you go into the fall after the climax, when, you know, it's a cycle. You understand? Of energy and etc. And associated with spring in ancient times, like I said, would be sexual festivals, you know, raising creative force among the people, you know, adepts, sages, mystics, kings, queens, religious leaders, people of power, all understood. And to this day, they understand sexual energy and the ability to create objects situations and circumstances from that energy. It's not just about creating people. It's not just about having orgasms, and having a good time. If all you're doing is having a good time and you're not putting any intent and etc. into the energy, you're wasting energy and power to improve your life. Okay, your life experience. From that observation point where you are. Okay. So you're dealing with primal force at a fundamental level. And also I got on here that back in ancient times, they used to have sex temples in ancient times, where you would go to temples for sex and pay a price and etc. And as you know, they say that prostitution is the oldest profession there is. It's that is something that's been selling for a long time because it's very good. It's very good, and it raises a lot of energy. Okay? Who doesn't know that, right? But yeah, back in ancient times, and even if you go through India, you would see sexual situations on the walls of the temples and etc. And even in ancient, see the phallus sexual situations and etc. And it's all about the energy involved in the sexual act, the energy. Even today, as far as sex temples and everything go, you may not have the temples and etc. That they had in ancient times, not out publicly. They still exist. You may not have them out public, but if you go to like any upscale white community or whatever, they got 2 or 3 thigh massages, thigh massage parlors, and different things where the men in that community can go and raise sexual energy and relieve themselves of tension and etc. They're allowed to have these temples, in their communities. They're quiet, laid back in a corner. Everybody knows they're running. Everybody knows what's going on. But just as they had things in ancient times, they have things in modern times that complement that stuff. Amen. And they try to open them in the black communities. They will have what cat houses, what they call them, or whatever. But they're always raided and shut down and etc. For some reason, the status quo doesn't want the energy raised in the black community. And the thoughts and etc. put in, and as if there's like there's not enough energy, or they're going to use too much. I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, they won't leave one up in the black community. That's all I'll say on that. But yeah, they had temples and etc. Even today they have swing clubs. Clubs where swingers go. Couples mostly that go and have sexual intercourse with each other. Sexual intercourse in groups, etc. You have large group rooms. You have individual rooms, sexual intercourse, hot tubs, and etc. going on. There are showers and people getting to know each other and this, that, and the other, and you have what's called a swing community. Where you sort of do a circuit of different swing clubs and private parties, but it's all about sex as a hobby and raising sexual energy and etc. Okay, and because sex is a primal force and a creative force that can be used to make dreams come true. Okay. Even they have sex tours, which you can get a sex tour like to Thailand or Bangkok, or you can get white women from Europe take sex tours to Jamaica. To get the Rasta man and the big, okay, to raise sexual energy and to get their groove back, so to speak. You understand? So all of this today is around sex and etc. and everything. Puff Daddy, like Diddy, he went into like the entertainment business young, okay? Like a young rapper. He might have been in his teens or early 20s or whatever before he even got into it. Or even maybe younger, I don't know, into the rap thing. But then he ran into not only rap, but also money. And when you run into money, you start running into power. Money is a power. It's an energy that can be used to buy goods, services, and different products and etc. and to get things done. Money is an energy. Okay, so he ran into that, and I'm sure as a result of running into money and the power situation, then he was introduced, to certain people that understood sexual energy and etc. and its use and etc. And more than likely he was invited to some of the parties and etc., some of the events and etc. around sex and around sexual energy, and was brought in that way into the types of parties that you see that he was having, the types of events that he was putting on, where they say he had 1,000 bottles of baby oil or lube and etc. Big deal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if that's the kind of event you're having and the kind of activity that's going on, yeah, 3 cheers to him for being prepared. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, you got sex tours to Bangkok, to Jamaica and other places. You know, let me see. Let me tell you about this. You know, there's a movie out, right? This movie is called Eyes Wide Shut. It's got Tom Cruise in it. And Tom Cruise in this movie goes to like a big mansion. He's invited to this secret party mansion. He wasn't invited, but a guy let him go, gave him a secret password. You needed a secret password to even get in. And you had to wear masks, and people were cloaked up and everything. And, you know, you got to watch the movie. Eyes Wide Shut is the name of the movie with Tom Cruise. And you look at that movie, and then you look at what Diddy is doing, you know, at his events and his parties and etc. Eyes Wide Shut, Diddy's party. You look at Eyes Wide Shut, it's much more organized, you understand, than what Diddy is doing. You know, it's more like a fraternal order that's doing the event in Eyes Wide Shut. It's more organized. Look how the people are dressed. Look at the masks, you know, concealing identities and etc. Look at the ritual around the process. So people are burning incense, you know, and the ritual around the circle of women, the circle, burning incense. The women are being blessed and brought in and made to be a sacred sacrifice. You understand? And he's in Latin, you know, the original languages are being spoken over the sacrifice, over the energy which will be raised. And you know, watch the movie. Eyes Wide Shut. See what goes on at the party. See the rules of the party, etc. See how it ends after this woman steps up for Tom Cruise. Amen. But Eyes Wide Shut is the movie. Also, look, if you go to YouTube at One Iam, that'll be my YouTube channel. I've got a video called God Power Sex Magic. You need to go to YouTube and watch that video. God Power Sex Magic. You know, it's a good video, and it'll teach you a little bit about sex, sexual energy, and its use. And you know, I'm not just talking cuff off my head like I don't know what I'm talking about. Trust me, I had problems and issues when I was younger, in my late teens and early 20s, trying to understand sex and sexual energy and why it had such a grip on me. Well, what was it about? You know, what's the power? I'm not just some nasty mofo. something's going on, but I didn't understand it. You understand? So I went in to find out what it is. And I found out. But I lost a lot finding out. I lost a lot. And yeah, go to my YouTube channel. Check out that video, God, Power, Sex, Magic. If you look at, let me show you. I took some of these off the internet. I think it was. Yeah, some pictures here. Anton LaVey. Anton LaVey was the founder of the Satanic Church, the Church of Satan. There he is, Anton LaVey. You see the altar? What's on the altar? There's a woman on the altar. And behind that woman, there are more women lined up for the altar. They're not going to be killed or murdered or anything. They're putting that on the altar, where the energy and the power is. It's going to the altar. It's being offered up. And somebody's going to take it on the altar and raise the energy and ask for something. Anton LaVey. He also wrote the Satanic Bible, and it's really not no superstitious, hokey pokey crap, that they give you out of church or whatever. The guy just was like into natural law and etc. He didn't believe in no God up in the sky type crap. You know what I'm saying? That type of. Aleister Crowley was known. He was a sage, a mystic. He was known as the beast. Aleister Crowley. And then this guy here, Desmond Roos or whatever. He wrote this book called Aleister Crowley and the Sex Magic. Because Aleister Crowley was into sex. Who wouldn't get into sex magic if you knew the energy could make you a multi-millionaire or give you anything you want, whatever it is. If you want happiness, you want, the love of your life, the energy will get it for you. It all comes from the energy. It's just, are you going to raise the energy, and get the thing going so that you can have it? You know what I'm saying? Look here. The sacred rites of Ishtar. We talked about Ishtar just a minute ago. Shamanic sexual healing. You can heal with the energy, with the sexual energy, and sex magic. Okay, sex magic. Boom, you can heal with it. With this energy, it's making people. It's making What's more powerful than that? Look, sexual practices. It's like magic sexuals. Magia, sexuals. Sexual practices for magical power. And this is Pascal Beverly Randolph. Pascal Beverly Randolph was a black guy, and he was the one who introduced Rosicrucianism into the United States. back in the day, and etc. The first guy to bring it in, organized Rosicrucianism. He don't get the credit for it, but that's what he did. Okay, look here. Sex magicians. Aleister Crowley, we just talked about. Pascal Beverly, we talked about. Jack Parsons, Anton LaVey, we just talked about. And others. See the book? Look. Pages and pages. Here, look. The Complete Kama Sutra. Okay? This is the Hindu classic, telling you how to have sex, how to get it cracking, popping, and snapping, and to raise this energy. It ain't about just and busting, you know what? And let me tell you, Puff Daddy understood that. He, you could tell from what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? He brought in, like I said, he brought in mushrooms and drugs and all kinds of things that would relax the individual mind and bring you up higher in the mental, more zooted, and then bring in the sex on top of being zooted and just raising the energy. And orgasm or after orgasm. I even heard he was bringing in IVs, to intravenously keep people up with energy and everything so that they could continue the process, rather than being worn out, and etc. I heard that was going on as well. Like they say, he was flying in porno stars and beautiful women and etc. And I don't think he was like holding anybody hostage or anything. A lot of people wanted to be a star or whatever, so they did what they did for whatever reason. Or he offered them a bag and they did what they did for whatever reason. Or some people knew that they were raising the sexual energy, this, that, and the other, and they did what they did in order to put an intent out into the ether and to watch it happen. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of that's what was going down. Sex is serious, and even though they want to make it a nasty thing and this, that, and the other, and you shouldn't do this, and everything should be behind this and behind that, and don't talk about this, don't talk about that. Everybody's into it. Everybody's doing the freak. Everybody is, nobody's going without it, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But when it comes to Sean Diddy Combs, he been doing the parties for over a decade, right? And et cetera. It's been going on a long time. I don't think the parties are the problem, I mean, his parties are mild compared to some of the other things that are going on. The Catholic Church, they are notorious for priests, raising sexual energy with children. They want, not because they're children, but they want the youth, they want the young, they want the vitality, the energy of something that just a mind that just came into the perceptive process, and that young, youthful energy, raise it and put an antenna on it, and they mess with the kids for that. Okay? You know, you go out to California, right? Bohemian Grove, you know, the power brokers, you know, out there, you know, they done flying in male porno stars and etc. And basically there's nothing but men at these meetings. You understand? But sexual energy is being raised and etc. Among those men and etc. You know, things are happening. But it's all things behind the veil. You know, I think Puff Daddy's problem was that he had cameras and everything, you know, all over the place, and he was videotaping, and he had, you know, all these tapes of people that did not know they were being taped, and etc. A big part of all of these parties, particularly when you get up into the power realms with powerful people and everything, who have an image to maintain in order to keep their status. You know, they have an image to maintain. And when Puff Daddy is Diddy, he was filming these people and getting tapes of them at his parties and etc. You know, with 3 or 4 women on them, and different things going down. You know, different things that people be like, oh, hell no. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, so, and they did not know they were being taped, and he's got these tapes, and he's holding these things over their heads, and etc. I think, personally, I don't think it was the freak-offs themselves that started his problems, but the taping, you know. You know, he's gonna, you know, it's not illegal to have guns in Florida, particularly if you're not a felon and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, there is a problem with scratching off the serial numbers off of guns and not being the proper owner of the gun and etc. But other than that, the real thing, you know, the real problem that these guys, they said he bought some He bought some of that from another state, and he brought it across the state line. He brought that across the state line. You know, we got to get him for that. You know, that's what he did. That's what the charges are basically. He brought some across the state lines. You know, not that he did anything, he raped anybody, did anything, you know. They came for the bag. They came for the stardom. They came for whatever they came for. Yeah, the issue more than anything is that he was taping people, and they didn't know, and they wanted to get their hands on those tapes, you know, and etc. And get them out of his hands. That's what I think. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. And go check out my video, God Power Sex Magic. And go to my blog, thekingdomwithin.com, and learn more about yourself and how you really operate. And then you'll be able to, you know, have more control over the perceptive experience that you're living. Amen.